City of Stevens Point Board of Park Commissioners meeting, recorded January 8, 2025.
Here we go, folks. Let's call the January 8th, 2025 Board of Park Commissioners meeting to order. Roll, please.
Alder Broderick is online, I believe.
Here.
Alder Boozy.
Here.
Freckman.
Here.
Disher. Here. Gladusky.
Here.
Alder Kiemer.
Here.
McDonald. Here. O'Connor.
Here.
Shabilsky's excused. Sorensen.
Here.
And Wynn is excused. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Number 2, approval of the November 6, 2024 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve as written.
All right, second.
Could you give that to?
Gladusky? All right,
They're quick.
Yep.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3, approval of the award of the 2025 tree care operations quote for the Stevens Point Forestry Department to Zableski Brothers.
I can take it. So we do have our forestry superintendent, Ernster, in the back of the room. He'll be with us here in a second. But as you recall, every year we do the award. Basically, we solicit for quotes. Last year's the first time we started kind of showing you year-over-year costs. You can see it. I do apologize the way the packet broke out. It kind of covered into 2 pages. But we do budget for this expense. So I'll give you total numbers if we use the full contract. If you look back at 2023, total to about $32,000. In 2024, tree fella came in as a little bit at about $30,800. This year there's a slight increase, but it's $35,125. We did get 2 prices again this year, which is in Superintendent Ernster's memo. The other bid that we received was $37,670. So the good news is, while the contracts move back and forth, both contractors we work with Zableski a lot. So Todd's very confident, if you read his memo, about recommending award, and it is a budgeted expense. So we don't necessarily always use the whole thing. It's based on the size of the trees inside the actual quote itself. But Todd has told over and over again how we're lucky with the quotes we're getting. If you compare that to the Appleton market, the Milwaukee market, these numbers are significantly less expensive than what they're seeing across the state. So my recommendation, or staff's recommendation, and Todd's recommendation is that we would award that contract to Zableski for 2025 in the amount stated here.
All right, thank you. All right, have a motion?
So moved to accept it as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, Mr. Todd.
Hi. Director Kramer had asked if I just kind of give an update of our what we kind of accomplished at the forestry division this year, so that's what I'll just kind of briefly go over. Okay, I'll just kind of let you know when to click them, if that works.
Good.
Okay, all right. So we had Arbor Day this year was May 6th, and it was off of Henrietta Avenue, kind of behind your business, I believe it is. And we planted about 20 fruit trees back there. It was vacant land that the city can't own. And Mid-State Technical College helped plant it. Well, they did the planting, and Wisconsin Public Service gave $2,000 towards the planting. So there's a bunch of apple tree varieties. There's peach. There's some plums. There's some cherry. And there's even a supposedly hardy pecan out there. So we'll see how that does out there. So we'll see. Yep.
I have now 3 years.
Okay.
I'm a pecan.
So we have these trees. We got pecans from 2 different nurseries, and we're going to kind of see which ones go. So we'll hopefully they take. If nothing else, if they just survive, I'll be happy with that. So it was the 43rd year that we were at Tree City USA, and it was our 19th Growth Award this year. And I just applied for next year, and it looks like everything is going to go through, so we'll have another Tree City USA and our 20th Growth Award for next year. So I just did the paperwork on that in December. So you can look at the others in the next picture. So it's Joe Hoffman with Mid-State Technical College, describing the right way to plant a tree. Then the next one, Dan. In 2023, we had an urban forestry grant, and that we weren't able to complete between the contractor and ourselves, because we were having some problems with the software with our GIS department, and me getting that all updated, so we had to kind of put it off. But now we got it all with the problem was updating the trees that we had in an access program. I had to convert over into a GIS program where I had to plot each one, and it just took a hell of a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So we got that done, and once we got that information done, we contracted with Walktel Tree Service out of Milwaukee, and they developed a management plan. And that'll be a talk, that'll be, it just got done, and he'll be here next month to talk about what they found, and we'll probably have that online so you guys can take a look at it if you want beforehand. Then the next one. Also this year, then, like we talked about, I applied for an IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, and we got $105,000. It's supposed to it's supposed to plant trees in underserved communities. It's a 3-year no match grant, so I'm pretty excited about that. One of the streets that we're going to be planting is Walker Street. That was developed under reconstruction this year. We're going to line one side of the street with ironwood, and we're going to alternate that with musclewood. That's what the pictures, that's what it'll kind of look like, what it's going to go down one side of the street, and then on the other side of the street, I'm going to go with amber choke cherry, let me back up, pink mist cherry, and then cornelian dogwood. I'm sorry, I got that backwards, because there's wires on the other side of the street. So it should be a nice mix of trees, but at the same time, there'll be some color and some flowering and everything else with that. Johns Drive was another area that there's some low-income housing there through the Housing Authority, and that area was targeted, and we did a bunch of tree removal out of there, and they'll be replanting, I think, about 30 trees out there. That's part of the grant. And then another area was Washington Avenue. That's going to be under reconstruction next year, and we'll be replanting that whole street. And then the next area that's going to be around campus, around your area, Ginger, around Emerson Park and stuff like that, where we'll be hopefully focusing on planting on private trees, private property with fruit trees and a variety of different trees. So it's kind of something different. The next one, that's my granddaughter Emery. I just wanted to show everybody that. So, anyhow, I had to get one of my grandkids in there. So.
Do you ride horses too?
Not sober. She loves horses. Then the next one is this year, Jake Sutherland. We just hired him. He's the new arborist. Paul Zeman, who was our your arborist for 24 years, he was promoted. He took over this park superintendent position. So it was very big shoes to fill. And I'm confident Jacob is going to do great. He has some great tree experience with roping and rigging and lowering, removing trees. He's working over on Fremont Street here on this picture today. So he's a welcome addition. And then the next one is, some of you may or may not know, we're logging out at the Yolga Disc Golf area. Earlier in the summer, we did some logging for health purposes out towards West River Drive. And now they're over in the Yolga Disc Golf area. That's posed some challenges with the disc golfing, because that group is very active out there, and they put a lot of their own time and money. So we're going to, some of the money that we're making from the logging operation, we're going to put towards getting that course back up in the way that they want to have it. So that's going on right now. The logs are still sitting out there. And then the next one. One of the issues we dealt with this year, is a lot of you may know, is on Walker Street. They redid Walker Street, and there was a push to kind of push the road through there. And with the help of Director Kramer and a bunch of you, we were able to hopefully put that aside. That project is going to finish next year because they got behind. So hopefully these trees are like 35, 40-inch diameter oaks. So it's a really neat wood lot to take a look if you haven't been over there. You can just keep it there, Dan. Also, I want to mention, I missed this spot, but our forestry department, we removed 117 street trees. That's just trees along the streets. That doesn't count a lot of, probably a couple hundred more trees that we took down on parkland or unmanaged parts of the parks, especially through, with our oak wilt. There's a lot of oak wilt in some sections. We have a lot of help with our street department, especially like right now when there's not a lot of snow for them to plow. They've been very helpful with our departments working together. I just met with Luke from the street department today. They're going to help take some more oak and dead jack pine out of some areas that we've had requests that we want to target. We also pruned, I should say we, not me, but my staff pruned 2,450 trees. About 1,800 of those are young trees. That's a big focus of our department, is to prune the trees when they're a lot younger. Ken Wanta, we're very lucky to have him. He pruned 95% of those trees. And it's a lot better to prune those trees when you can have just one guy do it rather than a truck and a chipper and everything else. So Ken's been doing that for probably about 10 years, and he went back to, I think, pruning every tree that we planted since about 2013 last year. So, but unfortunately, Ken is about to retire in October, so there too, it'll be big shoes to fill. And then we planted about 276 trees this year. But the good news also is that we got $5,000 more to replant trees through another alder with this. We planted Algoma Street this year. We planted a portion of Union Street, and then we just focused a lot on replanting trees that we took down over the years, plus residents' requests. Okay, what's the next one then, Dan? A very fun meeting that Dan and I were at was we had the Whitetail subdivision, which one of you reside in that area. There's been a problem with oak wilt out there, and it's been an ongoing issue for a long time, as is with a bunch of areas throughout town. It's not just that area, but we had just Alder Schutte put together a meeting, and we had a bunch of residents that were very concerned, and they voiced their concerns to us, and I think it went a lot better than I thought. I think there was more positive than negative by the time everything was said and done. I think there's a lot better understanding of what the issues were, and so we're working with those residents to hopefully alleviate some of those concerns. I can't remember what the next one is.
Staff photo.
Oh, okay, yep. So with that said, nothing could be accomplished without our staff. So like I said, Paul Zeman left, well, not left us, but he moved on. And so in between Paul leaving over to the Parks Department and filling in for those, before we hired Jacob, Jonathan Hankins and Ken Wanta, they stepped up. Those are the other two full-time employees, and really kept things running smoothly and training our 5 seasonal employees. And we were very fortunate to have 5 seasonal employees again this year that weren't just good workers, but that really cared. And we actually have 2 of them that are still working with us this winter, Lexi and Parker. They're wonderful employees. So I just want to make sure that I mention that, and it just helps to have the support of our director too. So that's I can't leave without talking about some of the trees that we might plant this year, Bob. So we're going to try quince. We're going to order 2 of those.
Okay.
And we're going to try to put those in one of the nurseries. We got some, where's the other, hop tree. I think that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then the fun ones were, should I, Alaskan weeping cedar, is that? Here in a second. I can't even say the damn darn word right there.
Oh, Chemycypris.
Yeah, so we're going to try that one. I just have a brain fart. I can't. What's the common name?
Well,
You can say the scientific name easier than you can the common name.
They're sometimes referred to as cedars,
Yep.
Alaska cedars.
Yep.
But they're not in the same genus.
Okay. So we're going to try them.
But they're similar. Yeah, actually, of course, it's very cold hardy. I don't know.
It should be fine, yeah. So we're going to try that in Iverson Park. And then we got European larch and then Japanese larch. and then some hemlock that we're going to try putting a lot of those in Iverson Park. So that's.
Did you have success in getting or establishing the sweet birch?
Yeah, they're down in Iverson Park,
They
and
do
they
it
are
well?
in, I think the deer may have got the one in Bucco, but there's several in
Yeah.
Iverson Park. So, and then we're looking at a couple, I'm thinking about buying smaller ones that, what was the one, monkey tail, hornbeam?
Yeah, according to the literature, it doesn't stand a chance.
Well, then we're gonna give it a hell of a crack, right? So, they're cheap. So anyhow, that's what I had. Does anybody have any questions then?
Yes.
Can you give us an update on the ash trees? How are we doing on ash?
Sure. That was something as I talked to Director Kramer, when was it, about 5-6 years ago, when Tom was here. It had to be before that, because Tom was here. I think we asked for $400,000, I think, to remove a significant, like 700 ash trees, get rid of the trees, get rid of the stumps, and replant those. And then I think we're down to about $30,000 left in the account, so we were pretty much right on. And what I've been using the remaining money for was buying the insecticide that we kept 550 ash trees that we're injecting. So rather than asking for more money for that, right now we've been using that money annually to buy the insecticide for the trees that we are treating. We contract out to treat about 450, and then we treat another, about another 200 in-house that our guys are doing. So, but it's going very well, like I said. Every once in a while, go ahead.
Yeah, is it working?
I haven't removed any of them that we've been treating, Bob, so, like I said. And we've got onto it early enough, and I'm happy, like I said, if we have a big construction job and the ash tree can't really be worked around, then we just, little by little, we'll keep it. And if one's not doing great for whatever reason, we take it out and we just replace it. But I'm real happy. You go up and down Main and Clark Street, it would look a lot different if we went through and removed half those trees down along there.
Next month, we will have the management plan update, and then most likely the next time you'll see Todd after that'll be a presentation on that ash account, because it's been a number of years, we've talked about it, that a lot of great work's been done, but we haven't kind of summarized it. So we can bring in more specifics, but that'll come after this management kind of discussion next month.
Yeah, every once in a while, we'll be going down the street and I'll thought, or not, it's more of a rural area. It's like, holy cow, I didn't know that, because it's all packed up and stuff like that. But you go down like West River Drive and stuff, in the woods, there's some bigger ash, and I'm only taking those down if they're kind of leaning, that they can fall into the road. That's where some of that money's being used up right now. So, it's all going for that.
Todd, as part of that, kind of that plan that you've got with ash trees, are you doing any sort of private property, just monitoring it all?
Oh, yeah. I've only had a mark condemn a handful of them so far, which I've been really surprised of. The residents have been really proactive, taking them down before I have to even go mark them, which, I don't mark them right out, as soon as they have any sign, because almost every ash tree now that isn't being treated has some kind of sign. And my plan is to more or less, anything that's kind of that could fall into the road, into the right-of-way, those are the ones I'm going to target. If it's something on somebody's private property right now, if I get a call on it by ordinance, I have to take care of it. But most of them, people have been taken care of on their own. But there'll be a lot more coming down.
Yeah. Well, next time you're by my house, just plant that seed.
Don't look.
All right, well, thanks very much. Go ahead.
So I'm going to embarrass Todd for a second. He doesn't know I'm going to do this, but Todd actually just celebrated 36 years with the city. And as you all know that have been on the board for a while, Todd's a wealth of knowledge. And he's into kind of the second rendition here of passing that knowledge on to our new arborist and all the different staff that we have. He's taught me a significant deal about the forestry, arboriculture in our city as well as in the state. So first off, as Park Commission, we can give him a round of applause. Hopefully he gets to 40 years, but he just celebrated 36 years. Congratulations, Todd, on that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll also tell you that, just in case you weren't keeping tally, Todd has been successful in acquiring 3 grants as of late that total over $150,000 in the last 3 years. So a lot of the work is subsidizing our budget. where he's able to use some of our equipment hours and some of our already budgeted labor hours to acquire some of these dollars. So again, kudos to, Todd for writing the grants and his staff for kind of putting the things together, but he's really stretched our dollar quite a bit to do some of the things that a lot of other communities can't do because they don't have the resources. Additionally, I got the ability to sit in on the management plan that you're going to get presented to you next month and be actively involved. And it was really interesting to watch how much what I would say our arboriculture practices are actually playing a role into the private tree sector. So, they're asking Todd for some feedback about things that we're doing and and the scale we're doing it at. And they're actually using them as recommendations to other communities when they're using management plans for other folks. So again, it was interesting. They're certainly giving us a lot of information that we can improve on, but how many questions they had for Todd specifically, like how are you doing that they're writing into these plans that they actually then write into other communities. So Todd's impact in Stevens Point has been huge. So is his staff. Certainly Paul and others that have been with him for a good portion of his career, but it's really showing here also a statewide impact, the way the DNR talks about him, the way these private consultants do. And I just want to tell you that I hope Todd works with us for a long, long time, but he doesn't get recognized enough for his efforts. So I certainly appreciate everything he does, and I know all of you do too. So thanks, Todd.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Item number 5, Director's Report.
Okay, so I will also, since I mentioned Todd's tenure, I do want to mention that Ron Otto also just celebrated 30 years with our department here in December. So we've had some really great tenured professionals with our department, and 2 of those individuals, I want to mention Ron too. We had some cake for Ron in December and celebrated that. He was on the park side for about 28 years of that career. He now works out of the Willa as our pool and ice center maintenance technician. So if you see Ron around too, make sure you congratulate him as well. On winter sports, I just wanted to mention, if you've driven by, we really have one ice rink right now that's established, plus the downtown one. I will tell you the downtown one has not been nearly as popular this year. I don't exactly know why that is. We just haven't seen as much skating on it. The Gerke one, we actually trudged ahead without snow in December, and because we wanted to get the Christmas break, and we were able to get a few days in before that big warm-up, and it got used heavily. Then we did lose the rink because of the warm temperatures, but we've now got it established again. So if you drive by, you'll see it's getting used. We are putting some ice on the hockey rink, and we'll open that. Again, having snow is better. If you actually watch the news today, you're going to see our northern community that's trucking snow in. Our crew was able to actually do it right on the ground. What that will result in is when the sun starts getting warm, it certainly will melt faster. But we gauged it, and we think the use right now is going to be much heavier than what's going to be in 6 weeks. So we gave up the back end, probably a week of ice, to get them in right now. So we're not putting the one in Iverson quite yet, because if we don't get snow and we don't open the winter sports, really bringing everyone down here to the Gerke main rink is kind of our priority. And then the downtown rink can kind of be the extra one, smaller, if you don't want to be in that main flux. So I will tell you, if we don't get snow soon, if we start getting to the end of January, the ability to try to truck it in and spend those couple weeks prepping it for the warm weather that comes usually late February, it gets less and less likely. So we will certainly make our best effort. We'd love to open the toboggan slides if we can, or the downhill sliding if we can, but right now we're pretty much at a pause and wait, and the forecast does not look very good for us right now for snow.
Or a snow machine.
It's been kicked around. I can tell you that it does take, it's usually a few $100,000 to get a snow gun, and then you do have to have some high-capacity walls. So actually, Chair O'Connick asked me about this a few days ago, too. I think that discussion can probably be something that we'll have to look into if our winters continue the way they're going. The challenging thing we have is that we don't charge admission for the sledding hills. So to take on that type of expense with the way budgets are, there would certainly have to be a lot of discussions at this level, as well as likely the council level, if that's a route we want to go. So we haven't taken many steps that way at all. I know the county park system does do it at Standing Rocks. They have a couple snow guns, and they're going to actually be replacing one, I'm told. So we'll get to see some costs here soon just in the local area, and then that could be something that could be explored if we thought down the road. I did want to update you, too, on the master plans for Gerke and Zenoff. We are in the midst of lots of conversations, and actually currently right now talking about drop-off area with P.J. Jacobs in the school district. We'll be meeting with them on Friday, and then we should have some updates, and our plan is still to bring those plans back here in February. I will also tell you we've heard preliminarily from the Moose Lodge regarding the letter of kind of understanding, and at this point, they've ultimately said they're not looking to proceed with what we originally talked about. So we'll give you a full update the next month, but I think what staff's going to be recommending there is kind of a plan of if it ever becomes available, as well as what we can do with our existing property we own. So we'll get all that kind of packaged up and brought back. It'll probably be a pretty large meeting in February because we're going to have the management report with the forestry with Wachtell. Then we'll kind of have the presentation where those plans sit. And ultimately in February, we'll be asking for kind of the Park Commission's feedback and then blessing to go to the community and get, written comments and have a public meeting where people can come and kind of voice what they like and don't like regarding the plan. So, but we have had lots of meetings with the youth groups, the schools, and trying to get as much feedback as we can. So I think the plan we produce will have a lot of things that fit. Obviously, everything costs money, so it's just a matter of can we lay it out correctly before we get into anything else further from there. So I did want to mention the Park and Rec conference. We belong to the Wisconsin Parks and Recreation Association conference. Falls the first Wednesday of February. So I apologize for 2 meetings getting moved because of the holiday and this, but I am looking at February 12th if we can get a quorum. That would be the night we would have February's Park Commission. That allows me and a couple others from the staff to go and attend that conference. Also, if you've watched the news today or if you saw a release, kudos to all of you as well as the department and the city, and to Ginger and the Friends of Emerson Park. Saramer Park Revitalization Project won the Park Design Award through the State Association. So at that conference in February, we'll get presented with a plaque. We'll also get to tell all the attendees that come to the session all about the project and kind of brag about Stevens Point there. So I think the last one we won was actually back Cash Playground, I believe is what it was. So it's been a number of years, and it's always great to get recognized for the efforts of all of our community members that came together. So there was some, I think it's Channel 9 that's running a story today. I believe the Metro Wire had an article on it. We also have it on our website. And again, it's kudos to, from top to down, from our city council, to the volunteers that raised the money, to the Park Commission, to the staff, everybody that built, the builders that built it. There was a lot of good work that got done in that project, and hopefully it's the first of many awards as we keep rolling forward here. So otherwise, I can tell you we're getting a lot of things done. We will be renting the Price Street House for February, so they're taking the advertising pictures here next week. The crew did a great job painting that and using it as kind of what I would call cold weather work. So that will go and hit the market here for January 15th with a rentable date of February 1st. Then the rentals start being collected until we make our decisions of what we're going to do from there. And then we are starting to work more towards kind of Yolga Disc Golf Course with some of our parks crew on some of the cleanup from the logging as kind of filler work with our park side too and with the volunteer group. So even though we don't have snow, we're not really doing plowing. And we are still working on the ice rinks, and then we're trying to do as much filler work related to even some of the brush work versus what the arborists can keep doing their trimming. And then again, I forgot to mention this when Todd was presenting, but Todd and the crew's done a really good job working with the Public Works Department and Utilities Department where we're plugged into their reconstruction plans. So they meet on Tuesdays and kind of go over what they're building next year and where things are going to be and kind of assess where we can plant and what needs to be done. So, but a lot of great collaboration between our department and the Streets Department as we talk about not only the reconstruction, but also some of the maintenance, snow routes, all that type of stuff. As you see too with Shopko going down now, the RDA owns that. So there's some snow removal that has to happen around that site too. And that was actually worked out where we traded some sites. We don't do that, the Streets does, but we took another area of the city kind of around Gerke that the Streets was doing, just trying to make it work better for all the different routes that we're doing. So again, I think as a whole here, even though we're not getting snow, there is still some work that's being done. Everybody's catching up, but we certainly wouldn't mind some snow for the winter recreation. So I do know that otherwise you can go north to, obviously for Wausau to the ski hill, or I know they did make it at Standing Rocks too, and that's how we've been answering those questions when we're getting asked about snow. So other than that, February 12th next month, and that's my report for this month.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Being none.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All right, everybody.
Second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll see you on the 12th.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.